Hey guys, this is Udaiba here, and a very important piece of announcement has just been dropped in WOTV JP, and in this video we're going to talk all about it. It's a new feature that's called Guild Battle Reserve Slot, and I'll explain in just a moment why it has a lot of JP players up in arms all about it. Now before we carry on, I just want to do a quick reminder that later tonight, in a couple of hours after I've posted this video, the UR Cost 100 Dario unit is coming out in JP, and as usual, I will be streaming my pulls for it as well as doing a full kit review. So if you're interested in checking it out, I will have the link to access the live stream in the description down below. Alright, so back to the subject of this video, Guild Battle Reserve units, and to make it easier for me to explain this, I have actually prepared a machine translation version of the announcement introducing the reserve slot function for regular guild battles, which is scheduled to be implemented in February. Now, you don't have to read the English text because I'm going to explain to you what this is all about, but for those of you guys who like to, take a look at the text as I'm going through it, this is hopefully going to be helpful. But basically the way this works is that moving forward, once this patch has been implemented live in the JP version, what's going to happen is that moving forward, when you create a guild battle team, you will now have to make a team of 3 units as per usual, and on top of that, you will now have to set a reserve unit team of up to 2 more units. And these additional units, they cannot use any of the vision cards or aspers or equipment that you already have used in your starting team. And the purpose of setting a reserve team, the 2 reserve units, is so that as you go on and do your guild battle, attack or defense, battles, as soon as 1 unit in your starting party is killed off, when the battle ends, the game will automatically take the first unit registered in your reserve slot and put that into whichever slot you have a KO'd unit in. So for example, so obviously this is in the event of if one of your units is killed off, but if let's say 2 of your units are KO'd in the same battle, then what the game will do is to take both units you've registered in the reserve slot setting and slot them into whichever 2 characters you have killed off in the battle. And if you lose all 3 of the units, then the game will just straight out take these 2 units and put them into the team, so that after the battle you still have a team of 2 units remaining to either do your next attack with, or if it's a defense team, then you will take at least one more attack to try and clear it. So there's a bit of explanation here, but basically you don't really have to read all of this. The important part is that in your backup party or in your reserve unit setting list, you can only set up to 2 slots. Now for some reason, this is super confusing, by the way. For some reason, in demonstrating the feature, you can clearly see that when setting your reserve units, you can set up to 3 units, right? Or at least the UI is such that it seems like it's possible to set 3, but here we're being told that actually when the feature launches, you can only set up to 2 units. So maybe in the future, if they feel like it's necessary, maybe in the future we can set up to 3 units in the reserve slot. But for now, at launch, when this feature comes out, you can only set 2 extra units into your team. So obviously when I say that, I think a question that almost everybody had when reading this is, well, if you're going to have 2 more units, what's going to happen to your vision cards, the vision card abilities and your mastery abilities that come with each individual unit. So I'm not sure if they have it over here. So that's a little bit later on, but I just want to summarize this text here. This part here basically says that so as you might expect, if you go into a guild battle and start a battle, if one of your unit is destroyed or killed off, the reserve unit will come in and replace it at the end of the battle. But there's another use for this. If somehow you forgot to set all 3 units of your offense or defense team in guild battle, but you have actually set 1 or 2 reserve units, what happens is when the guild battle starts, they will automatically take your reserve unit slots, the characters put in there, they will automatically take them and put it into your main starting party. So this is for the event that if you somehow forgot to set a full team. And then next part here, this part here is what I was talking about exactly, about the application of ability effects. So basically, so this part here is really confusing as well. The most important thing that you need to take note of is that, so you have 3 units, and then when they get killed off, up to 2 more units will come in. It says, it expressly says here that all of your vision card party abilities, as well as the master abilities of units that have been killed off, they will continue to apply to the party even after their death. So meaning in your fight 2, in your second fight or third fight, all of the vision card abilities will still come into play for the units that have been killed off. But here is the part that's kind of confusing. So what happens, what about the reserve units who are coming in? Do they get to activate their master abilities and VC party abilities as well? And the way I understood the text, and the way that my JP guild members understood it as well, is that they will get activated the moment those reserve units join your starting party. So for example, if you run, let's say, Vivi, Helena, and Rafu, right? So you have like a full Black Mage team, and let's say you have 2 additional reserve units like Sephiroth and let's say the new Dario unit, who is a Katana unit, by the way. So let's say your Vivi and Helena gets killed off, and then Dario and Sephiroth comes in. Only at the time that they join the starting party, when they come into the party, that's when their master abilities and VC party abilities come into play. Some people think, someone in the Global War Division Discord server actually informed me that it could be possible that they intended for all of the vision card abilities and all of the master abilities to come into play at the beginning of the fight, meaning it could be that essentially you have up to 10 vision cards and up to 5 characters worth of master abilities coming into play the moment you use your starting party. So unfortunately, based on the way that they have sort of described how this works, it doesn't confirm or deny which is the correct interpretation. But for most people, we think, for most of the people who have read the notice, we do feel that they probably meant that those abilities only get activated when the reserve units come into the starting party. But just keep in mind that there's also the possibility that maybe all 5 characters' vision card abilities and master abilities are activated at the start. We'll find out which is the correct way once they're able to release a clarification of this, or when the feature comes out later this month. Now, another thing that I saw some people talk about, that some people are quite worried about, is whether or not it's possible to purposely not set any reserve units to deny your opponent the awarding of stars. So like for example, with the change moving forward, a defense team is going to have 3 units in the starting party and 2 units in the reserve party. So when you clear out that team, normally it would mean that you have to kill off 5 characters, which means that you would be awarded 5 stars for clearing the party, right? So the idea is maybe it's possible for you to set a team of 3 members, but you don't set any reserve units, and maybe by doing that you can just force the opponent to, when they clear a team, they only get 3 stars instead of 5 stars. So that's the worry that some players had, but according to this clause here, that doesn't, that wouldn't happen. Because when you defeat a team that has fewer than the 5 full party members, 3 main starting units and 2 more reserve units, whenever you destroy that team, regardless of how many members it has in the party, you will get the full credit of 5 stars for defeating that team. because so as it says here, for every slot with no unit, you will basically get an additional star when that team has been wiped out. So there's no worry about that. It should function the way that the developers intended. However, with that said, we've come to the end of this announcement, but with that said, this is a game-changing feature, essentially. And a lot of people are really pissed about it, especially the people who are seriously competing in guild battle in the higher ranks, such as myself. I'm in the number 2, ranked JP guild, and we talked about this earlier tonight. We are not pleased with this at all. It's going to mean that we have to... So one thing you have to understand is that in JP, guild battle only takes place for 2 hours, from pretty much 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Japan Standard Time. And so what's going to happen is that already right now, within those 2 hours, we sometimes already find it hard to fully finish our guild battle on time. Sometimes we literally run out of time trying to get all of our attacks in. Now imagine, this feature comes in and we have to play almost twice as many battles in the same amount of time allotted. And by the way, I missed out a very important point. With this change from 3 members in a guild battle team to 5 members, which is 3 starting and 2 reserve. With this change, they're going to make it so that each offense team now have 3 attacks instead of 2. So as you can see, it's at least 1.5 times the amount of battles, and so during the guild battle itself, it will be kind of hectic. It will be really crazy, especially for the people in charge of the guild, the commanding officers who need to approve people's attacks, who need to double check this and that. And that's not even including all of the extra preparation work we will need to do now that, a defense team is 3 starting members and 2 reserve units. And given the fact that the way the reserve unit system works, in that whenever you have a character killed off in slot 1, 2, or 3, automatically in the next battle, your reserve unit will come into, whichever slot gets killed off. That means that you don't even have a choice of where your reserve unit will end up in. It could be slot 1, it could be slot 2 or 3. And that will obviously screw up your formation. And, even with things like, let's say you're okay with this system, and you just want to try and find like the best team to set, right? How are you even going to test whether your team is good? Because, are you going to take your attack team, go and fight someone else and design an opponent such that they will definitely kill off your slot 3 unit so that you can see, what happens when your reserve unit enters slot 3 instead of slot 1, that kind of situation. It's going to make testing and preparing teams really, really difficult moving forward. And I joked about this early on with somebody else on Discord. I guess the idea behind this feature is that, maybe they are trying to get people not to take the mode so seriously, not to go and test your teams, Don't worry about the team, just buy all the units, buy all the strongest units and vision cards, and just put all the good stuff, all the good characters, all the good vision cards into a team, and just, don't test it, just go wild with all of your strong characters and VCs, and let your money speak for itself. So maybe that is the intention. Obviously they wouldn't be implementing this kind of feature if it doesn't, if they don't foresee any kind of financial benefit to it, right? And unfortunately, I have to say, based on the way that they've decided to implement it, and based on the way they've decided to announce it without like a proper explanation on live stream to players, it clearly feels like they haven't actually understood, why players in World of Visions love playing guild battle. They don't even understand that, we don't like it when it's up to RNG, which slot our reserve unit will come into. They don't understand that by doing this kind of thing is wrecking the whole formation, and it's making it impossible to do any kind of proper testing to make sure that you're able to land your targets and clear it because you already know what the outcome is because of your skill with the game. They don't understand anything. They don't understand any of that. It feels like, honestly, I have to say it does feel like a bit of a slap in the face. It's almost as if they thought that, us or the Visions players have been playing by simply just taking good stuff, like good characters and vision cards, and just slapping it in without any customization, without any planning, without any, understanding of the fundamental game systems to try and, change and tweak things for us to, get a victory with. So, I don't even know how this can happen. How is it that they are so oblivious to how people play their game, And right now, like I said, I was planning to show you guys this earlier as well. So if we go on Twitter now and look at the hashtag for World of Visions in Japanese. So this is the... so I'm just going to scroll down and go one by one. This one here is a complaint about how, they really should have explained this properly in the live stream. If you're going to make a big change like this, you have to explain it thoroughly on the air, otherwise it might get rough. And personally, this guy feels like, he thinks it would have been a good idea to try using it for a limited time to see how the system feels instead of just, dropping it into regular guild battle. And yeah, this will, by the way, this system will completely change how guild battle teams are formed, because you will now have to think of each individual guild battle team as a 5-member unit. Probably something like a tank and maybe a support and then a DPS, and then your reserve unit is something like 2 DPSs or something like that. You will need to come up with specific strategies, for this sort of thing to try and get a better placement, better result in guild battle. And because you will now potentially need about 10 vision cards for your team, this means that certain weapon groups, certain weapon teams isn't even viable for the next half a year to 1 year as they try and add, more and more vision cards to help those weapon teams catch up. This is really insane. And of course, when you have like I said earlier, so the way that the vision card abilities and master abilities work is that when the characters in your starting party are dead, their VC party abilities and master abilities stay in the battle. And they continue to affect the entire team, including the reserve units who have come in. Right, so altogether, if let's say 2 of your members get killed off here, and then the 2 reserve units come in. So when that happens, you are going to be running around in battle with up to with the party abilities of up to 10 vision cards and 5 members worth of master abilities, which obviously means that it's going to be that much more advantageous to run mono element parties, because if you go ahead and take a PvE formation and you put, say, an ice unit down, and as you add more ice units to a party, you can literally see and confirm that the HP of the first unit you added is increasing with each additional ice member you're adding to the party because of the master ability. And the same goes with the the elemental ability, elemental attack ability up effect as well. So once they implement this, I don't really know how you can expect weapon teams to be able to catch up to mono element parties anymore, because like I said, potentially you send out a good team to fight in the first battle, and then 2 of the members die, and then from the second battle onwards you have basically a full team of 3 again, but this time in the second battle you have a team of 3 units, but you have vision card party abilities and master abilities, equivalent to 5 members worth. And that's going to be ridiculously powerful compared to the weapon teams. Ridiculously powerful for the mono element teams compared to weapon teams, I mean. So all of the meta is going to change. All of your VV plus Helena teams as effective anymore, which I guess is kind of a good thing. But you know, the bad side about that is that you're simply going to see Helena with 4 other light element party members, and then you're gonna see Vivi running around with 4 other dark units, and that's going to be our meta for the next half a year or God knows how long, which I don't think is healthy for the game. So as you can see here, this next tweet here, this is especially good, because the funny thing is they did actually mention back in the December official live stream for WOTV JP, they did actually mention this reserve unit feature. Is a new feature. They had it included in the slide, but they didn't actually talk about it. And Fujita-san, the director of the game, said that this is going to be a feature that they are going to need to explain before they implement it. And that was it. You know, they just didn't really explain it, and they just dropped the announcement onto us like that without any clarification or proper explanation. And now a lot of people have questions about the mode, about what they're even thinking really, and it's a complete mess because a lot of people are upset that they didn't do a official broadcast to explain this thing. It certainly is one of the biggest changes to come to the game, and they definitely should have explained it on the live stream so that people can at least, you know, through the live chat, you know, submit their questions, and then maybe they can catch some of it, and then maybe they can try and sell the feature better to us. Maybe do a demonstration of how the new guild battle mode is going to be played, and maybe it might be a lot cooler than we imagined. But no, they decided to just drop it in a notice announcement post, just like that, without explaining clearly how it works. Still, a lot of people have a lot of questions, and we're all very worried right now. And I really mean it when I say that this could potentially be the end of War Divisions as we know it, because a lot of the top guild members are talking about how they can only feel like this is like their way of trying to get people to, you know, try to potentially spend more in the future because they will need more units. So some people take it in a good way, and you know, you can technically take it that way because for the veteran players, you already have everything you need to take advantage of the system, right? Because we already have so many units and vision cards in the game. It's really only the newer players that are going to have a problem trying to catch up with the rest of us. That is the main thing here. So let's take a look at this tweet here, Han from Avalon. It's not particularly heavy burden for an ordinary guild member like myself, but the management cost, the time cost for the guild management group seems to be about 5 times as much. Can you imagine how much more planning this system will require from the people who administrate a top guild? I myself, I just recently joined the what we call the War Council for Final Boss, the #1 ranked guild in global server. And already I can see when this feature comes to global, which it probably will sometime in March. When it comes, I am not looking forward to how much more testing, you know, we the War Council members will have to be doing in order to determine what is the best strategy we want to go with for our guild versus the other guilds. And the thing is, we don't get more out of it, you know, we don't get more rewards, we don't get more enjoyment necessarily out of it. It's just a bigger time sink for everybody, just because each team will require more members. So this is really crazy. People are really upset about it. Let's take a look at this one here. Why would you even do something like this that nobody wants? There are so many things, so many features that the players are asking for, but instead of all that, you know, you guys, the developers are implementing this stupid system, and then the guy says, rather than, and on top of that, he would like to be able to understand the full details of how the defense systems mechanics will work with the new reserve unit feature moving forward, because for now, from the way that they've explained it, it's so difficult to understand you know, what they mean about how the defense will work. So a lot of people have a lot of questions about it. Let's take a look at a few more a few more Twitter posts. This guild battle change, I would welcome it if it eliminates the remaining moves from winning or losing. Yeah, so, you know, some people are still looking at it from a positive angle, but a lot of people are, you know, starting to see how this is a huge misstep. This guy says, I feel like War of the Visions is officially over, or, you know, coming to an end soon with this stupid change. The burden of the guild battle itself will increase, and I feel like there is pressure to pay for a better set of characters and vision cards. I can see people leaving. Even the top guilds are currently having trouble recruiting more people into their guilds. So with this change, you're just going to increase the burden and reduce the number of people who can effectively, you know, play at a high level. So there's really not any good reason for this. You know, it's only demerits everywhere. So I think I'll stop for now. But basically, as you can see here, a lot of people, you know, are just criticizing this season, this change coming out later in February, and honestly, a lot of us do hope that they will consider walking it back, or at least doing some kind of limited trial first to determine if this is indeed a good change. Because right now, especially since they didn't even take the time to properly explain how this works, or to do a demonstration of it on a live stream, we totally feel like this is like an impossible situation. We just don't see how this will work out. Like, do they even play the game? Like, you know. Anyway, so that's gonna be it for this video. This rant has gone on long enough, but I'm really serious in, you know, in trying to highlight this situation. I don't even know if there is a chance that we can try and, you know, as a community for the global version, try and see if we could, you know, try and ask them to not do this thing, because I feel like, I mean, it's already not being accepted in JP. What are the chances it will work out well in global, right? The good news is that for global, at least, it seems like there will be some time before they will even announce and implement it. And who knows, maybe on the official live stream for global version next week on February, was it 4th or 5th? Maybe on the stream they will touch on this subject, and it would probably be a good time for them to talk about this thing, this new feature, and talk about, you know, if this is really something that will benefit the game's community. So yeah, so that's all I have to say on the subject. I do hope that it goes well. Personally, I am looking forward to the additional strategies this kind of system will afford, but at this point, I'm not even sure if the developers actually properly play tested this to, you know, I mean, have they even made sure that it is a fun change? Because like I said, it's just going to be more work for the players, and I don't see how this could be more fun than the current implementation. It's just more burden. It's just more things to you know, go and you know, worry about. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on this. I'm gonna take a look at this post as well, since this is from my guild member. Operations team, to be frank, I can't trust the new feature that you're releasing. I'm worried about the increased burden. Even if you were to implement this, I think you should have a pre-season period to see how the players react. And what you need to do now is not to implement new features, but to restore trust. Well said. I couldn't put it any better. Please do not wear the wrong shoes. Yeah, it's a Japanese saying. So yeah, that's it from me. That's it from, you know, my guildmate Haruto-san here. And yeah, I'm gonna be doing a live stream later on. If you want to come and talk to me about this topic matter, or if you just want to watch some, you know, Dario polls and, you know, some other World of Visions JP gameplay, yeah, that's gonna be it for now. I'll see you guys next time.